The most exciting and terrifying thing ever just happened. We saw it first on the news. Friday morning, everyone awoke to find that a creepy, awesome carnival had appeared out of nowhere in the city. Not just in the city, but pretty much everywhere in the city. Like, mixed in all over the place. There were giant Ferris wheels right in the middle of major intersections. Whole streets have become humongous bumper car rides. There's a tilt-a-whirl on top of the hospital. Have you ever seen a scrambler? My sister blew chunks all over one of those at Six Flags. Well, there's one the size of half a skyscraper now. And we know they're half the size because they actually hang from skyscrapers. And you want to see crazy? Check out the roller coaster. Or maybe it's roller coasters. They run all over the city, wrapping around tall buildings, running over bridges, and through tunnels. Do you know what physics is? Yeah, me neither. But Dad says they defy the laws of physics. School was canceled, so if you're looking for a silver lining, that's it. I really shouldn't say that. I actually like school, but I have an image to maintain, right? So this is me. Hope I don't disappoint. My name is Curry. Yeah, like the spice. This, my kid sister Phoenix, or as I call her, Pain in the Ass. If there's trouble, she'll find it. And when she finds it, she usually drags me into it. She is fearless. Gotta give her that. I don't know if she was always like that, but she has been ever since she got sick a few years ago. Whenever they put that poison into her veins, she tells them to bring it. Just bring it. So she's super psyched about this crazy carnival thing. If she could ride the roller coaster to school from now on, she would. Actually, that would be kind of cool. Would she blow chunks like that time at Six Flags? Maybe. But the time that she did that, you know what? She made us get right back in line and go on that thing again. She had yuckage all over her sweatshirt, but she didn't care. Throwing up was half the fun, she said. But back to the present situation. When we opened the windows, creepy carnival music started drifting in. Phoenix clapped her hands with pleasure, but I was starting to get a really bad feeling, you know? That's just between you and me. As I said, I've got a rep to maintain. Even the boys don't mess with me. It's not about what's going on inside you. It's about what you show everyone. That's my theory. Why was I getting creeped out? For one thing, I'm no construction engineer. But how in the heck does this all appear overnight? I mean, you need permits to set up a lemonade stand. My dad thought maybe it was a hoax. One big illusion. The world's greatest magic trick. But part of the roller coaster ran over our apartment building, and there was a support stanchion on the street. It looked like plastic metal, if that makes sense. It had all kinds of colors on it. Well, Dad ran out and put his hands on it, and he came back white in the face and scratching his head. Solid, he said. Real. Mom, who works in computer tech, had her own idea. Nanobots, which is not to be confused with my Nana, who lives in Florida. Mom said they're tiny little robots that you can't even see. Phoenix had her own idea. Magic, she said. She let Ma pile extra layers of clothing on her so she could go out and explore the changed city. I think Dad wanted to stop her, but he never knew how to stop Phoenix. Never had the stomach to tell her no. Mom had tears in her eyes and a smile on her face when she sent her youngest kid out into the carnival city. She told me to look out for her, but that really wasn't necessary. Pain in the ass or not, I always looked out after my kid sister. We soon ran into other kids we knew, everyone staring at the crazy rides in awe. The roller coaster sneaked high above us in the sky, but it soon became apparent that none of the rides were working. Not yet. The park wasn't open. Bummer. That didn't slow Phoenix down or dim her excitement. We could barely keep up with her. She didn't weigh much these days, and a gust of wind could send her spinning. But she skipped from one amazing sight to the next. When we got to Elm Street, we found the whole section, like miles long, had been turned into a bumper cars ride. Hundreds of little cars ready to go, but not open yet. Kids were lining up by the dozen to try it too, and a few adults. In fact, one old geezer was second in line. But no luck. There was a creepy clown running the ride. I guess he was a mute, because he gave a kid a flyer and got him to read it aloud.
The Carnival of Wondrous Terrors opens at sunset. All rides free. Well, almost free. No need to pay anything more than you already pay every day anyway, even though you might not know it. So see you all tonight.
There was no point bugging the clown to say anything else, since he couldn't or wouldn't talk. That meant we had a whole day to kill waiting. It didn't dampen the excitement of my sister, though. She just hurried on to the next amazing sight. Weirdly, all of us kids started following her. Yeah, I followed, because I always went with her, to keep an eye out. But today, everyone was following her. Who died and left her in charge, right? But I don't think she even knew kids were following. Come to think of it, maybe that's part of the reason they were following. Anyway, she led us downtown, where, to everyone's shock, City Hall had been replaced by a giant, terrible, awesome, spectacularly cool funhouse. I kid you not. The mayor and his staff stood around dumbfounded, not sure where to go since their offices were gone. There were TV trucks and reporters. No one could get into the funhouse. Had to wait until dark, I guess. It had so many flashing neon signs and flickering images that you could probably look at it all day and not take it all in. Why do I say terrible awesome? Do you know what a theme is? It's like something that underlies something. Sorry, not very good with words. Well, there seemed to be a theme with this carnival or amusement park or whatever. On the colorful signs were a lot of grinning skeletons, a lot of monsters, bunch of ghosts. But I guess that's what amusement parks are all about, right? You're so scared, you're having the time of your life. While we were watching the funhouse, a man emerged from it, and the huge crowd hushed as the carnival music stopped. He looked kind of like a gunslinger from an old movie. He had on a black kind of cowboy hat, pistol at his hips, though they were probably toys. He held his head low at first, and he was in so much shadow you couldn't make out his face. Everyone sensed this dude was in charge. Or close to whoever was. The mayor tried to approach him, but clowns kept him away. So he watched and pouted and waited like everyone else. When the gunslinger finally turned up so we could see his face, the crowd gasped. Have you ever seen The Wizard of Oz? Of course you have. This guy was like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man combined into one. His face was a little bit metallic, but it had stuff growing from it that didn't look like hair. It looked like straw, and he had just a touch of clown makeup. Everyone held their breath. you didn't want to look away. But in your heart, the scariest feeling was the idea he might look at you. That's why no one moved an inch. You moved, and you might draw his attention. Finally, he smiled, and I have to admit, I felt relief. If you look at a photo of him, you'll probably think he's monstrous, and that even his smile is terrifying. But it didn't feel that way. It almost felt warm. Like maybe you actually wanted him to look at you. Like you knew he could show you things that you never thought possible. Things that would make you feel more alive than ever before. Then I saw my sister moving towards him. I was so frozen still it took me a long time to start trying to catch up to her, but I did. Still, somehow she moved through the crowd faster than I could. Maybe because she was all skin and bones. With no one else moving, the gunslinger turned toward her and smiled. Phoenix smiled back. She had that same look on her face she had with the needles. Like, bring it. Just bring it. Then the gunslinger addressed the crowd.
Did you ever have a nightmare so good you didn't want it to end? You have. Maybe you don't know it, but you have. We're going to show you the most wondrous nightmares ever. The Hall of Mirrors that reveals the biggest terror to be yourself. The tilt-a-whirl that blurs reality so you don't know up from down, left from right. The Ferris wheel that feels so rickety it might just come off its base and roll on and on. The funhouse where every room is a wonder that will scare you into being more alive than ever before. But most of all, the roller coaster. It's no ordinary roller coaster. 100 places you can get on and 1,000 pats it can take. You might start out with your friends, but then the car splits and you go different ways. It's faster than any coaster you ever heard of. It'll show you the most incredible things. Sometimes twist your stomach into a knot, but you always want the ride to keep going. That's one promise I can make you. You'll never want it to stop. You'll never ever want to get off. Everything we do is about the roller coaster. We bring it to you, and we serve it. You're welcome. See you tonight.
With that, the gunslinger went back inside the funhouse. The mayor tried to get the police to go after him, but the cops were afraid of the clowns. Jugglers and street performers poured out of the funhouse, and things became really festive. The carnival music returned. Here and there, people danced in a circle. Everyone was happy. Clowns passed out cotton candy, but Phoenix was leaving. I caught up to her, but she didn't say anything. Sometimes I knew it was best to say nothing with her. Sometimes there was nothing to say. It was hard to read her expression, but she seemed excited. But maybe a little tired now. I think she needed a nap. As we walked home, the number of kids following my sister fell off until eventually there was only me with her. I held her hand. She showed me a smile of appreciation. Against all odds, my sister had made it to the 7th grade. Having avoided staying back, she was really smart, but had missed a ton of school. She kept up not so much because she was smart, but because of how determined she was. For a pain in the ass, she's okay. Pretty cool, actually. But don't tell her I said it. You know, Image. She was gonna lay low all afternoon, building her strength, because one thing that didn't need to be said, and I knew there was no point arguing it, we were riding that roller coaster tonight. We were riding it.